Hello everyone. My policy paper is on factoring the dysfunctionalities of the housing market in Dushanbe. And according to the international human rights law, everyone actually has a right to an adequate standard of living. And keeping this in mind and being always interested in human rights and social justice, and previously working for the United Nations and for Eurasia Foundation of Central Asia in Tajikistan, I actually decided to make a policy paper on housing market because I consider housing market in Dushanbe as a part of social injustice. So my research question is what are the consequences and factors of the dysfunctionalities of the housing market in Dushanbe? And in order to address this question, I decided to collect the real estate prices and the prices for renting. Additionally, I interviewed local experts on the legislation of the Republic of Tajikistan. Also, I took an interview of the local expert on microcredits, and I spoke with the representative of the social service center. And I also looked actually at the social discussions on the housing market in Dushanbe. So let's come to Dushanbe itself. So Dushanbe is a very young city which became a capital in 1924. And here on the picture you can see Dushanbe of 1925, when it was the city made of small brick houses made of clay. Later, throughout time, Dushanbe was developing during the Soviet era, of course. And a lot of modern Soviet buildings were constructed in Dushanbe. And Dushanbe actually embodies and highlights Tajikistan's urbanization. And so now it's like we have the population growth, of course, in Dushanbe. And throughout time, like at first we had 5,600 people in Dushanbe, and nowadays we have almost 1 million people. But of course, not everyone can be able to enjoy the right to decent housing, to the right to adequate standard of living. So, in order to speak about the factors of the dysfunctionalities of the housing market in Dushanbe, there is a necessity to explain what are those factors. And as I already said, it is the population growth, of course, then Dushanbe, then the dysfunctionalities of the housing market. They depend on the internal migration to the city. It's like our rural migrants, they come to the city just to find a job for themselves. And another factor of the dysfunctionalities is that our prices for the real estate and for renting, they actually depend on the remittances sent by the labor migrants from Russia. And for example, the present situation is the following. We have the decline in prices because of the slowdown in the Russian economy. And you can see that we are actually connected with Russia, of course. Then it is necessary to mention that our prices for the real estate and for renting, they are overpriced. And those people who can afford themselves buying an apartment or renting, they are actually mostly the ones who work for the international organizations in Dushanbe, in the capital, I mean the local Tajiks. And there are also the experts, the foreign people coming, foreign specialists coming to work in Dushanbe. And the last, but not of course least, the factor of the dysfunctionalities of the housing market is patronage, which means if, for example, you are the one who was involved in the construction of the, let's say, social housing apartment in Dushanbe, you were involved in this construction, so you are mostly the one who will buy this apartment, because I will actually explain later why it happens this way. So let's come to the consequences of the dysfunctionalities of the housing market in Dushanbe. Actually, the issue of homelessness is not recognized by the government of the Republic of Tajikistan. I consider homeless people as the one who are old and single, and who actually were kicked out to the streets, or who lost their houses during the privatization process because of the fraud and because they were just cheated by somebody else. So most of our homeless people, they do not have official documents. It means that they do not have passports, or they do not have pension IDs. And therefore they are not able to find a place to work, and they are not able to afford housing for themselves. So actually we have one social service center in Dushanbe, which is run by the government of the Republic of Tajikistan. And this center addresses the issue of homeless people. But homeless people, they are not so interested in being involved in getting service from that service center, because it is run by the government, and homeless people, they do not trust the government, unfortunately. So, but there is also some people who are not aware of having such an opportunity, that the homeless people, they just don't know that such center exists. Another side of homelessness in Dushanbe is, as I call it, it is hidden homelessness. Let me explain what is that. Hidden homelessness is when those rural migrants come to Dushanbe to work, and without having no apartment and without having any type of housing in the capital of Tajikistan, they just have to stay with their relatives, if they have some, with their friends, or with some random people. And it means that those people, they just live in small, overcrowded apartments, and they're not able to enjoy decent housing, of course, in Dushanbe. Another element of the consequences of the dysfunctionalities of the housing market in Dushanbe is social housing, which is the part of Soviet legacy. But nowadays, social housing is provided by the state for purchasing, not for renting. And here you can see the prices for the social housing, and the comparison with the price for the average salary of any common person, any Tajik in Dushanbe. And if you make calculations, you will see that we require only 7 years of saving money for affording social housing in Dushanbe. But you can see that it is, if we save all our salaries, which means that 100%. In comparison with other countries like Russia, United Kingdom, or Great Britain, it requires more time, but saving less money. So you can see the difference. And another type why social housing is ineffective in Dushanbe, it is that actually, if you already bought this apartment, you will have to invest more money. There is no plumbing equipment in those social housing apartments. It means that you will have to buy and invest sinks and bath tubes. Additional money have to be invested in your social housing apartment. So, social housing is also, as already said, for those who are involved in the construction of that type of housing, patronage relationships. So, patronage relationships. So it means that those who already bought it, those who already constructed it, they bought these apartments. But the common population is not really aware of this type of housing. Another type of consequences of the housing market dysfunctionalities in Dushanbe is mortgage system. Our mortgage system has the very high interest rate. So it means you can see the prices on the numbers on the slide, and you can, if you make some calculations, you will see that it will require more than 100% out of the original cost for the mortgage for the apartment. And the next consequences for the dysfunctionalities of the housing market in Dushanbe is the luxury real estate. Actually, our luxury real estate is it creates prices distortion in Dushanbe, and it means that also this luxury real estate is only for those who are connected to the elites. So it is not for the common population, unfortunately. And I have some policy recommendations, and I'm not going to present all of them right now here. If you're interested, you can find the rest in my policy paper, which is going to be published very soon. And so the first recommendation is on monitoring homelessness. With the involvement of the international organizations and local organizations, we will be able to make a census of homeless people. And then we will have a number of those who are homeless, and then we will have a number of those who are actually eligible for those lost or stolen passports or IDs. And so this monitoring of homeless people will allow to, like, if international organizations will provide the local organizations with some grants, it will be possible for local organizations to build some shelters for those who are homeless in Dushanbe. The next policy recommendation is on improving social housing system. It also requires the involvement of international organizations and local organizations, of course. If there are some additional grants for the building of social housing in Dushanbe, then it will be then the local organizations will be able to build new social housing in Dushanbe, and of course it will help in decreasing the number, like the amount which should be spent for buying this social housing. Additionally, let's say an awareness-raising campaign can be conducted among the common population in order just common people, common Tajiks, to know about the existence of this opportunity for them. So my last recommendation here is on launching long-term microcredits for the population. So it will be great if our government it will be great if the government creates the additional investments, additional funds for microcredits, in order our population to get more access, to get more microcredits from them. And if those microcredits are for the long term, and if they are with a lower interest rate, it will attract more people, and then people will be able to afford the right to adequate housing to themselves. So these are my policy recommendations, and I will be really glad to answer all your questions during the Q&A session. So thank you so much for your attention.